Hi guys, welcome back to 100% Mag. So hope you're all staying safe and well out there. So Saturday sees Newcastle return to Premier League action alongside, of course, my guest here, Hanno, who is a Chelsea fan. And we take on Chelsea at St James's Park on Saturday in the 3 o'clock kickoff. So unfortunately, this game will not be televised here in the UK, but you will be able to catch it on some sort of dodgy stream, I'm sure, online. But before we get into the preview, I'd like to, of course, allow my guest to introduce himself to you guys. So go ahead, Hanno.
Firstly, thanks for the invitation and thanks for having me on.
No worries.
Newcastle always been recently a tough game, and of course we want to get a bit of revenge. I've said a bit of info about me and my channel. So Scanty South African flag. So I am from South Africa, and the Coach's Corner is my channel for anyone that wants to go see some of my videos and stuff. Excited for the game, nervous, getting nervous. Just wish it was um, the later game instead of Arsenal
Yeah.
Brentford being that later one, because I think this has the potential for being the match of the weekend.
Yeah, I was surprised at that as well. I agree with you. I think this game has the potential to be a game, that people will want to watch. And I am pretty surprised that they have not went with it being a televised game and they've decided to go with the other game instead. Will the broadcasters be a little bit disheartened when, this game's finished if the other game doesn't play out as well as they thought it would? It could be a little bit of a disheartening moment for broadcasters, but it's their loss. At the end of the day, plenty of other streams that people can watch the game on. What's your thoughts, on how your season's been going so far? I mean, obviously both my team Newcastle and your team Chelsea both played in the summer series over in the US at the beginning of the season. So obviously we've both had a chance to see, sort of how each of us teams were going to play out a little bit before the season kicked off. But I mean, what's your thoughts on how your season's been going so far?
It's been a crazy season, especially for the fact that we started off playing in preseason so well, but the defense was a bit leaky.
Yeah,
Um, then we come to the season and we come up against low blocks and we create chances, but nobody can finish them, and we're almost struggling to break those teams down.
yeah,
And that's the reason why we are 10th. Because if you look at our performance recently, against Arsenal, Spurs, and City, um, and Brighton in the cup to extent, we definitely deserve to be higher. This game is a must win for us because you guys are, I think, three or 2 points ahead of us. Get the table 4 points. So if we win, we close that gap to seventh. So and we gotta finally beat a big team who's playing 11 men the entire game almost. I know we done good against City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Of course, we also
yeah,
drew those games we drew, and we played well. We deserved to get a win a year or there. But we beat Spurs 9 men high line. That's superiority on Spurs side. That's not really what we can take out and say, okay, we done really good against them. We deserve to win. Um, so that's my only problem. That we are still 10th. Like even
yeah.
though we don't play like a 10th team, we are still 10th. So
I, I,
um,
I thought your game against Man City, that was actually a pretty decent game. I did watch quite a bit of it, and I thought Chelsea did reasonably well in it, especially to get, a 4-4 draw against a side like Man City. I mean, Man City, I've always said, since the last few years or so, since they got that takeover a while back, that they are the team to beat. So to see, Chelsea getting a 4-4 draw against them, that's pretty decent. Like you say, the game against Tottenham, again, another really good result there for you guys. Then you just had that game in the cup, of course, against Blackburn Rovers. Which
We
again,
played, yeah, Blackburn,
yeah,
and
but
Brighton
it's
played in the cup. So yeah.
yeah, but I think of the recent games, you've done pretty well, to be honest. Um, but it's like we'll have to see what happens with this game at the weekend, won't
Yeah.
we? With the injury sides of things and that as well.
I
But go
think
ahead, mate.
what sums up our season the best is we can draw 4-4 to City at home, then lose 2-0 to Brentford at home. That's how crazy our season has been. And it's inconsistency on our side, and the fact that this team is inexperienced and know how to break down the low blocks. That's why this game relies so much on what Newcastle are going to do. Are going to sit back, protect, just sit back the whole game, um, and then let Chelsea come at you. Of course, save your energy for that PSG game midweek away, which that's a big one. That's a big one, really.
Yeah,
So it's so up in the air this our season. Uh, This December period and end of November depends how we're going to look for next season. Where are we going to? Are we going to be fighting for, let's say, fifth and sixth place? Wait, are we going to be there, or are we going to be seventh, eighth? Are we going to be around there? What's the solution going to be? And the plan ahead. And of course, we are getting players back, but with players coming back, that also means tough decisions to be taken. I think Kunku, Gallagher has been probably one of our best performers this season. Now
yeah,
Kunku comes back. Um, don't want Gallagher in the 8/6 because
yeah,
he's not good in the first or second phase. He's good in that third phase, scaring the ball and just pressing.
yeah,
So there's lots of questions to ask in the coming months. Um, but our season has been crazy with so many results, being up and down, and big teams will rise to the occasion. Question is, Newcastle, long way journey up there, young team. Can we rise up to the occasion again?
yeah.
Um,
That is the question, isn't it? Because a lot of people do have problems when they come to St James's Park, be it under the lights, be it just in the winter periods coming up to St James's Park. I mean, it's a lot colder up here in the northeast than it is, down in the south. So that could play a factor in the game. Like you've just said, young lads coming up, they're going to have, a lot of pressure put on their shoulders from the fans wanting to get a result at St James's as well, because, you know, Newcastle's going into this game again undefeated at St James's Park. And we've been keeping that undefeated run going at St James's now for a reasonable while. So, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of that Chelsea side to come into the game and, try and do something that other teams haven't been able to do this season. So I fully agree with you on that. It will be a tough one for the young lads of the Chelsea side, to be able to do anything. But out of the players for Chelsea so far this season, I know you just said Conor Gallagher is a player that has been really far ahead. What's your thoughts on Mikhailo Ludwig? Is it? You
Kyler
signed?
Mudryk.
Yeah, Mudryk.
Um,
What's your thoughts on him so far?
He's had glimpses where he's been really good, but because of the form of Sterling recently and the form of Cole Palmer, there hasn't been much space for him. But he's definitely getting to a point where um, he he can now be trusted as our number one winger, and definitely the
Yeah,
winger situation will be addressed in the summer because this season we've got four wingers right now. If you include Palmer, because Madueke, Sterling, Mudryk, that's three. Include Palmer is four. Um, because of course Nkunku comes back. Where does that leave Palmer?
yeah,
So those four. We've got one on loan that's smashing it in the Friends League. So that's five. We can't have five wingers
yeah. It's
really.
going to get
One of
oversaturated, isn't it?
them is going to have to be dropped. So yeah, but it's been decent. It's just about um. I would almost say it's like an at this moment from for United. Great off the bench when he starts. At times he's lively, but other games he's not. So still
Yeah,
inconsistent. Needs to find that consistency.
yeah. Like you say, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with the kids and that in the side, see how them kids play against Newcastle, the players that are injured for Newcastle going into this game. Elliot Addison, back injury, Harvey Barnes, ankle injury, Sven Botman, knee injury, back injury for Dan Burn, of course, the loan agreement for Lewis Hall, so he won't be available for the game because of the agreement between both clubs. Javi Manquillo, which is a groin injury, shoulder injury for Jacob Murphy, injury just for Matt Target. But Jacob Murphy is coming back into the team, I believe, pretty soon. I have seen him in training. He's been working hard, doing weights training, working on an exercise bike. So I don't think it'll be that much longer. And then we will see Jacob Murphy getting back into the side, who's been doing fantastic as well this season. Again, another player, that Eddie Howe has been able to turn around. I mean, at one point, this lad, was being uh, told that he was going to have to leave Newcastle United. He was going to, end up having to go to Sheffield Wednesday and play for them. But now, it's turned around. He's staying at Newcastle United, Newcastle fan as well. So nice to see the lad getting his chance to stay at the club. Tonali obviously suspended, so he won't be available for Callum Wilson with a thigh injury, but hopefully he will be back pretty soon. The questionable ones going into this game is Almiron. I think he will make it for this game, maybe be it on the bench. Isak has been talked about that he will be available for this game. I mean, he's been able to get some training in there whilst the international break's been on and trying to get himself back to fitness ahead of this game. And Eddie Howe has said that, we'll try and get Isak into this game against Chelsea at the weekend. Sean Longstaff, questionable as well with an ankle injury. But of course, he is on for one more yellow card and he gets suspension. So we'll see how it goes with that one. Fabian Shaw as well, another questionable one. And in my opinion, the pound for pound best centre back in the Premier League. I know that's a massive statement to say, but when you consider how much we paid for him at the club, definitely pound for pound best centre back in my eyes, because he's just done so much at the club since he came here. But he's questionable with the thigh injury. I don't know if you agree with me on that there, or if you have your own
I
opinion
think
on it.
at Newcastle, is probably the best or top two. But in the league, um, it's a tough one because Van Dijk has been good. Saliba has been good. Henderson from Palace has been good, but it's definitely up there. It's just I think it doesn't stand out as much. Almost you see him when he makes a tackle or so,
Yeah,
but in general play, because Newcastle got so many gifted players: Bruno Guimaraes, Longstaff, um, Isak, Gordon. Bonds, all these type of players.
Yeah,
Don't really see him. That match Trippier too. Um, so yeah, but of your injuries, you basically don't have any centre backs left because
yeah.
Shaw is out, Ben is out. Um, there's an what? What's the other one?
We've got Shaw out, we've got Burnout, and we've also got Botman out as well for
Botman
the centre
out,
backs. Yeah,
and
uh,
I really rate Botman. Not gonna lie, it is like I like him. But those your best three best centre backs. So it will be Lascelles again. That's been decent to be fair, but
yeah,
yeah, Trippier at left back, I guess.
yeah.
So that
I think it might be Trippier left back, and we might see Tino Livramento come in at the right back position.
yeah, yeah.
He's done some pretty good stuff for us since getting his chance to come into the side. So I think we will see maybe Livramento coming into that right back position and then Trippier on the left back. But your thoughts on the game, at the weekend? What is your thoughts going into it? I mean, how do you feel going into this game? Like we just said earlier on, it's undefeated at St James's Park for Newcastle. It's going to be a tough game, isn't it?
Definitely, it is going to be a tough game. But one thing that City game did give me is a bit of belief, and since we can play against these big teams and we can give them a go. Um, the only thing is what we will maybe see is Enzo Fernandez, of course, played for Argentina against Brazil.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff happened, of course, in that game, which we won't get into. Um, but yeah, he did play. That game was on Tuesday.
yeah,
Or when yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, for us this side. So it's a tough one. If he will start and he hasn't been good, but I reckon we do have a good chance against the guys with all the injuries.
yeah,
Um, and even though Newcastle will be up for it, like we know, we've seen even your C team beat Man United in the cup.
yeah.
So we definitely respect you guys. The only thing is we shouldn't respect you that much and just say, okay, we will be the one sitting back. Let you guys attack. Um, if Isaac does a start, again Newcastle will be interesting also because will you risk Isaac? Will you risk Almiron? Even them coming off the bench, but um, so after this injuries, I expect you guys to almost have a few kids starting, which gives me
Yeah,
confidence. And I think we can definitely win against you, but I am nervous because this is Chelsea. Everything's been going well so far,
yeah,
um, but usually when things go well for us, it's always somewhere something
goes bad.
just happens out of nowhere, which we don't expect. Um, but yeah, of course, last year we played Newcastle on my birthday. It was a nice birthday present. Thank you, Cole, and your team. And it
Yeah,
was
1-0 loss.
and it was the what Murphy or Willock that scored the
Joe Willock, yeah, Joe Willock 1-0 winner.
Willock. Yeah,
For you guys. Not great.
no, I don't like that. And the game was so dead. So I'm hoping this game isn't as boring as that one. Um, but I want to hear from you from Newcastle. What do you
Yeah,
expect Eddie out to do, like lineup wise, and how are you guys going to play?
yeah. I think, like you, I think it's going to be a tough game. I mean, it's a point where we've got quite a few injuries. You know, we're seeing what happened with the game against Bournemouth. You know, that was a tough game against where it could have been, you know, a much different game if we had had the players at our disposal to use. You know, we could have really gotten a good result in that game against Bournemouth because we were all over them, even with the injuries. You know, and then Burnley did. Bournemouth, sorry, had their moments in the game, you know, where they had chances as well. So, you know, if we had with players fit, then we could have come away from that one with something. But I think it's going to be sort of a similar game with this one as well, you know, with the injuries. I think the injuries are starting to catch up with a bit, so it is causing a bit of a problem at the moment. And then, of course, like you said, you know, we've got that game against PSG in France, you know, that we've got to focus on as well. But as we all know, you know, Eddie goes one game at a time. The forefront of his mind is always that, you know, game that we're playing next. Then he focuses on the next game after that, which is the right way to do it. You know, it's always Eddie's way. That's how he does it. You know, we've seen it with Rafa as well. Rafa used to do that, you know, one game at a time mentality, which is good because, you know, you don't need to be thinking about the next game before you've played this one, or 3 or 4 games down the line before you've even played this one. You know, you definitely need to be focusing on the game at hand before you get into the other games. But I think, you know, there will be a tough game. It's in James's Park. Luckily for us, it's in James's Park, so it means that we do have that, you know, home field advantage to a disposal that we can use. But I think it will be a tough game. There is just no way of going around it. You know, Chelsea have had some pretty good results at St James's Park over the years. In the past 4 games, you know, we've had 2 wins and 2 losses. I mean, the results from last season's game, it was the 1-0 win, like we just talked about, you know, Joe Willock scoring the goal. Previous season of that, we lost 3-0 to you guys. And the season before that, we lost 2-0 to you guys. And then, of course, the 1920 season was again another 1-0 win. So it's not like we've scored crazy amounts of goals.
I think you have to add context to that because that time where we did beat you, 3-0, 2-0,
Yeah,
it was when you guys were rubbish. Let's be honest.
yeah,
And now since the takeover, you guys have been absolutely amazing. So I think there's context in there to that you're our own new different team, and that's why you did do the double over us last season.
yeah.
Um, and we were also rubbish last season, but it's still, yeah, you still have to beat us. And at this game, it can be good. It can be a good game, or it can be a stalemate, or one of the teams just dominating. Don't know. Do you want to do lineups maybe, or
Yeah, you can do a lineup if you want, yeah.
yeah,
Do you want to go
Chelsea.
first, yeah?
We'll go Sanchez, Reece James, Silva. Is that a centre back? Probably the Sassy, yeah. Left back, I will stick with Corella. Midfield, Caicedo. I want to start Enzo, but I'm also scared. Because coming back from Argentina, so I will go with Enzo. But the only other option is Okachuko. But I think we might bring him on at the second half. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we're 1-2-0 up, or have at least a goal, and are in the lead. So, Gallagher, best performer so far, and then right wing Sterling, striker Jackson, and Palmer. But I remember you wanted to ask about the best player so far for us this season. I would say Gallagher, Cucurella,
Yep.
um, Palmer, Sterling, for best players. So yeah,
It's not bad.
um,
Not a bad lineup, mate, to be fair. I think you could have a chance with that lineup, to be honest, with the injuries we've got. I mean, obviously, I want to try and stay positive. But looking at our injury list at the moment, it's going to be a hard game. It is. It really is going to be a hard game. If I had to pick a lineup, it would be pretty hard to pick one. I've got to say, for goalkeeper, obviously Nicky Pope, because at least we've still got Nicky Pope fit. For right back, I'd probably say Livramento. Centre back, I'd go Jamal Lascelles in there as well. Emil Kraft in the centre back role, unless of course Fabian Shaw is available for the game. Then of course it would be Lascelles and Shaw in that centre back roles. Left back, of course, Kieran Trippier in there, of course, for the left back position. In midfield, this is where it probably gets a little bit tricky at the moment, judging who's going to be in the midfield. I would probably say Joe Willock, Bruno, but again, Bruno, like Enzo Fernandez, played in that game against, Brazil Argentina game, so we'd have to see if he would be able to be fit for the game because of playing that game, of course. But if he is, then I would go Bruno and Joe Willock in the centre midfield alongside the likes of Joe Linton as well. Then for the
Is it?
wings,
Is he still fit, or isn't he injured?
who's that?
Jolan.
No, Joe Linton just got sent off in the game against Argentina
Oh,
for the push. So he's now suspended from the international duty. So yeah, he was in that game. He come on as a substitute. He wasn't on that. I don't think he was on that long. And then of course he ended up picking up that red card. For it was just a terrible, terrible red card. I watched that game, and no way was that a red card for Joe Linton. I feel the referee was very, very harsh towards him for that. But I would go with Joe Linton in the centre midfield alongside Bruno and Joe Willock. For the wings, I would go with Almiron if he's fit. If not, then I don't know who's going to play on that other wing, to be honest. Maybe Joe Linton could play on that other wing and we'll bring somebody else into the centre midfield. Maybe Lewis Miley, somebody like that. And then obviously Anthony Gordon on the other wing. Up top, it would be Isak, if he's available to play for the game. If not, then probably Gordon going into that striker role and we're having to put somebody else on the wing. But that's basically it, really, at the end of the
yeah.
day. It's so tough
You
to
are
choose
very
a lineup.
strict there, because I think if Hall was eligible, I think Livermore might have been on the right wing, and then you can rest on Almiron. But yeah, I think it's a fair lineup. Again, it
Especially
all
judging on the injuries at the moment, it's like really tough to pick a lineup with how many
yeah.
players are out.
I think your midfield could do something. It just depends on if they are tired.
Yeah,
So yeah, I just want to check Ecuador with Caicedo if he played. Yeah, he played against Chile on the 21st, which was
yeah,
so he did play. So uh, I don't know what was having uh, African players going in January to
yeah,
AFCON, or having South Americans that play into nationals in the international break.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
because you're scared to play them.
It's because you don't
Um,
really know if they're going to be, fit or not. That's the thing with it, because they go on this international duty. They've got to travel all the way to South America, play the games over there, then they've got to travel all the way back from South America. It's the same with the
and
AFCON one that you see, January, February
and
period.
the games in South America, like the qualifiers and stuff like that, it isn't easy. That's the thing. Like it's not easy like England against Malta or North Macedonia. That's the biggest problem. If it was an easy game, it just fly there and back, then it's fine. But it's tough games, and it's competitive down there. So yeah.
Yeah, true. So moving on from the lineups, the injuries, the thoughts on the game. What's your score prediction going to be at the weekend?
I usually sit on the fence, and people that do watch my channel, um, and know me, that I don't usually back us to win a big game. I want to be positive, and I want to say we're going to win, but I'm just scared. We do something stupid. So I'll go 1-1, but I have belief in this team.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to you, mate. I think this is going to be a tough one. I mean, I know I've said it so many times already in this preview, but I think the injuries, are going to cause a problem for we. The only advantage that we have is that it's ours. The injuries are just really, really bad at the moment. I think for you guys, you really couldn't have picked a better time to play with at the minute. If I had to pick a score prediction, I'd say 1-1 as well. Hopefully Newcastle could edge it with a 1-0 win, and see out the game and get 3 points that way. But I think it's going to be a draw. Preferably, I would love to see, Newcastle get the 1-0 win and the 3 points in the bag. But now, if I had to choose a proper score prediction, I'd say 1-1 for this game. I'd go with you, mate, on that. I think it is going to be a very tough game. I think this game, unfortunately, has come at a time where, we've got a lot of injuries. We've got that game coming up against PSG as well. I think it's just going to be one of them games, where it's just not been the right time and it's come up at the wrong time for it. If we had the players fit, I'd say Newcastle come out on top in this game. Not offense to you guys, of course, but with our squad fully fit against your squad, I think we win out that game against yours.
It depends how much Eddie Howe looks into that PSG game, and that is also on the Tuesday. It's a tough one for Newcastle, but I still think you guys are a strong side, and we have seen Eddie Howe have as implemented the style. If you guys stand up like you always do against the big teams, this game will
Yeah,
be tough.
it will be.
If you play like you did against Bournemouth, what I'm saying is we might smash you 5-4-0. Because Bournemouth could have easily done that to you guys. But you also could have scored a few times. So yeah. But no.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate, to talk about the game coming up against you guys at St James's Park. Before we end off this video for people that will be watching this later, do you want to give a shout out to where people can find you, mate?
Yeah. But firstly, thank you, Carl, for
No worries,
bringing
mate.
me on. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Of course, we got you in the cup. Also mid-December, so maybe 2-2 for Chelsea.
I hope not.
Uh, or maybe free. For free when you come to the bridge. We beat you twice in quick succession, and then beat you for the third time at our ground. But yeah, for socials and YouTube. On YouTube, Coach's Corner, as it says there down below, and then Instagram _coach_corner, Twitter 70830030. If you don't want to type that long, just search Coach's Corner. You'll find it some way or another. And TikTok Coach Corner 1. So yeah, but thank you all for having me on, and
Yeah, mate.
hopefully we can do something against you guys.
No worries, mate. Anytime, you're welcome on the channel. Good luck to you guys at the weekend. May the best team win. At the end of the day, that's what I always say. And yeah, like you heard Hannah say there, go check out his content over on social media. Go check out his YouTube channel as well. Fantastic YouTuber, fantastic person as well. and it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. Also, we'll be doing a preview of this game over on Hanno's channel as well, so go check out that channel to hear my thoughts over there heading into this game at the weekend. But thanks once again, Hanno, mate, for coming on the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. However, that's